So this is how good the noise blanker actually works. You hear all that noise? And there was a weak station in here calling, but this.
Well, that was a bust. Anybody around on 10 meters today? Victor Echo 7, Sierra November Charlie.
Let's hear what it sounds like. I don't have a tuner in the radio, so I can't quickly tune or do anything. And I know I'm not resonant right here, so I can't come back to them either. But I do need to test this radio shortly. Anyway, that noise blanker works pretty damn good. Certain radios are just really, really nasty on the upper bands. And we actually barely even have it on. But I think, like, even the 710, you can't get rid of the noise. AM is almost always really bad. Straight. Look, it gets rid of the noise on AM. So, let's say we wanted to go over here to CB radio, right? But let's go. Because I don't know how to change this. I guess you just go to the band. And then general. And you should go down there. So let's try. Hear how bad it sounds? So the filter is correct on this radio. When it engages, it sounds like shit. When it's off, it sounds normal. Let's just go somewhere where there's no signal. It looks like it gets rid of all the noise. Sort of. It gets rid of a lot of it. If I was to hook up a bunch of the other newer radios, you wouldn't be able to get rid of that noise on AM. It would still be there. This is a different time period when the things were different. And when they made these radios, they wanted to make sure that they worked right. Now they don't even care because they're like, oh, who's going to use AM? Nobody. So new radios are really horrible to listen to AM on. You know, this was at the time a general coverage radio, so a lot of people actually bought these not just for ham radio, but they bought it for the general coverage. And there was a shortwave version of this radio, a couple different ones actually. But anyway, it seems like it does pretty well.
everybody. You know, you was on out the middle of the road. Me and this whole East Station in the backyard. Let's go. Right, 777.
And it doesn't seem to distort the audio. The audio just sounds like shit to start with, but... I can hear this guy about 30 kilohertz.
Most of them are ex-alcoholics to boot.
I don't hear anybody on here ever anymore. I'm not a big CB free band person. I like CB radio, but I don't like free band. I'm not interested in it. I'm not a CB DXer. I'm not impressed by making a contact with somebody in South America on CB radio. Or Australia, or Hawaii, or anything like that. It's not amazing. It's kind of pretty normal. But some guys get into it. But also just... I started out on CB radio as a kid, talking to local people. And that's kind of what I've always enjoyed, but anyway, there really isn't any local activity. This radio shifts the frequency when you change modes. So it goes up 3. It'll actually walk on down the band if you push some other ones. You go like CW and now it goes down. But if you try and go back up, it doesn't go right where it was. It'll keep moving. See, it's walking us down the band. It's weird how it works. One of the guys that's talking that's really weak is a couple miles away from me. He's the local CB retard. And every radio that he gets is broken because he has a shitty antenna. He's the he's like the agitator. Smokes a bunch of pot, gets on the radio, talks about smoking pot, starts to argue with people for the hell of it. I don't know. I've met the guy in person. I've sold him a couple of radios. I traded. He had an amplifier that I wanted. In fact, it's the Heath kit right here. And he didn't want it because he can't use it on CB radio, but he lied to me and told me that he had a ham radio license. I didn't ask him what his call sign was. He just told me he was a technician. And he said he needed an amplifier that worked on 10 meters because that was the only band he could use. And anyway, so I traded him the SB200. And at that time, I had a 751 non-A. And I traded him that radio and that amp for this amp. And then he told me that the radio was broken. And I asked him what antenna he was using. And he told me it was something, I forget what the hell it was. And these radios will fold back power very aggressively if there's any mismatch. And I explained that to him. And he said, well, I don't understand. My Cobra 29 works just fine. And then he told me that he had a TS430, but it only worked sometimes. So every time that I would put a ham radio for sale on Craigslist, this guy would contact me. And then he would ask me, do you fix radios? I've got a broken 751. And I would tell him, I'm the guy that you got it from. It's not broken. Your antenna's broken. You don't understand how ham radios work. And then I told him, well, if you think the radio's broken, then sell it back to me for cheap, and I'll take it off your hands, since it doesn't work. Oh, no, I'm keeping it. Okay, well, then what do you want me to do? Well, can you fix it? It's not broken. So, anyway, I would post a radio for sale, and he would email me. And if I didn't respond, he would get upset. Are you going to respond? And I'd respond and say, look, I'm not selling you any radios because you always say they're broken. Because you try and use them on 11 meters and they don't work for you because your antenna sucks. So a couple years later, I was trying to get rid of some radios. I needed the money. And I sold him a TS440 for $500. And I gave him the opportunity to test it in the parking lot in my truck on a Wilson 1000. He said, oh no, I'm not worried about it. He gets it home and he tells me, this radio's no good. My wife's mad, blah, blah, blah. I said, there's nothing wrong with that radio. And he said, it's doing the same thing my 430's doing. It won't work. It only puts out a little bit of power. I said, yeah, because your antenna sucks and you're folding back power. There's an SWR protection circuit in that radio to protect it. And he said, well, can I come over to your house and test it? I said, no, you're not coming over to my house to test it. I said, but I'll go over to your house and help you with it. And we'll check out your antenna and we'll get it fixed up. Oh, no, I can't have nobody over here. I said, well, then what's the point of it being tested at my house where it's going to work when your house is where you're going to use it and it doesn't work because you're an idiot and you think that your antenna is perfect? You hear how I can barely hear him? He's 7 miles away from where I'm at. Actually, I don't think that's him. But anyway, you see these other people are further away. But anyway, this guy, I finally was like, look, dude, you've got a fucking pot farm over at your house. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Nobody's gonna fucking tell on you. But I think what it is he's got so much shit over there that he's insecure and he's afraid about having somebody come over there. But he says, oh, my wife won't let nobody come over here. Well, I can't help you then. You bought the radio. I gave you a chance to test it in the parking lot. I'm not gonna bring it over to my fucking house and test it. I'm not gonna test it and find out that you burned it up, which I doubt, but he might have. And yeah, that's his signal right there. And he argues with all these people on the radio. He's one of these stupid fucking idiots that cannot possibly be helped. He will not listen. He won't comprehend. He just smokes his pot and he talks on his I don't know what it is. I think it's probably an HR 2510 or something. He's got 3 broken ham radios that have all come from, a couple of them have come from different people. So I finally told him, I was like, look, dude, either you let me come over there and help you, otherwise we're done talking. I'm not taking the radio back. I'm not doing any of this crap. I've been more than fair with you, and I've tried to help you, and you're not willing to listen. And I said, I'm not a CB guy in the first place. I said, but I'm not discriminating against you just because you're a CB guy. But if you're not going to listen, I can't help you. And so he's the only person really, I think, that's on radio locally on CB. And I sure as fuck don't want to talk to his ass. I have talked to him on here a long time ago, but he's, as you can tell, he's really hard to hear. And I explained to him, you got to fix your antenna. Nobody can fucking hear you locally. I mean, so he used to be really loud, actually. When I first moved here, he was extremely loud. And I don't know what he did. But I think he's had the same antenna up for a long time. I think it's called a PDL2. And I think that thing's been up forever. And I think it's bad, but he doesn't want to realize that it's bad. So anyway.